Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Raha Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have taught us this truth and rule well. Peace and salutations to the chosen and the elect. I'm Ari Azabak out of the GMS Dallas camp, and I'm going to entitle this lesson here, More Tribulations, okay? For all of, everyone that has this truth, this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the faithful, the hopeful elect, the chosen and the elect, that's continuing, to carry the burdens of this world, all right? Just keep the hope and keep the faith, all right? Let's get Romans, the 12th chapter, and verse 12, and it reads, rejoicing in hope, patience in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, okay? And, matter of fact, let's get the word tribulation real quick, all right? The word tribulation, the meaning of it is a great cause of great trouble, a cause of great trouble or suffering, okay? And, these are the times we're living in, with our people, with the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, all right? You have the so-called Negroes, which would be your southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And then you have the northern kingdom, which are your so-called Native Americans and Latinos, all right? And the head tribe of the northern kingdom is Ephraim, okay? So, we're in the times together where here in Babylon the Great, we catching hell, not only through these political parties, although we understand that these heathen nations, are against the chosen nation, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are the true Hebrew Israelites, okay? And these nations, they thrive off our downfall, okay? So although these wars are brewing up and, they having their little skirmishes and they trying to get their NWO started, they're still, living off the backs of the Israelites, okay? And then you also have the wicked 2/3 of our people, the nation of our people, who continue to come against their own, all right? And most of them walking around here talking about they're saved, can't tell you what they're saved from. It doesn't make any sense, okay? They're in a delusional state. But you brethren, okay, we just have to, continue to, encourage each other, man, because, we go out on the highways and byways right after, we come from our jobs, the boss, just being a complete demon, man. You have to deal with that. You have to deal with them moles on your job. All right? You have to deal with all this wickedness, this darkness, okay? And ultimately, all we have to rely on is Yahweh Shai, okay? So, these burdens that we carry, from our families, all right? They turning against you. And it seemed like, you're the only one, that just going through. But just, continue to keep the faith, man. And this is what this walk is all about, the suffering, okay? Because that's going to be a reward on the other side, all right? Let's get Ecclesiasticus. Let's grab that. That chapter 2 and verse 1, and it reads, my son, if thou come to serve Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, prepare thy soul for temptation, okay? And this is what we have to realize, on our daily walk. staying prayed up, being built up, in this truth. Okay. Studying to show thyself approved. All right. Keeping our mind, our mental on these scriptures, continuing to eat the whole roll. These things is what's going to help us make it through. All right. Verse 2, and it reads, verse 1 again, my son, if thou come to serve Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, prepare thy soul for temptation. Right. Because, we have all type of distractions, especially from these cell phones, man. You trying to study. Before you know it, an algorithm will pop up. You looking here and there. And some that took you, should have taken you maybe 30 seconds to do, you're on your phone for about like 30, 40 minutes and don't even realize it. Okay. And there are several temptations, man. I mean, we're in these bodies which are chains of darkness. So we just have to make sure we keep our, as Apostle Rakal would say, keep your medicine strong. All right, we have to continue, to eat the word on a daily basis. All right. Verse 2, and it reads, set thy heart, which is your mind, aright, and constantly endure. All right, because we're gonna, suffer until Yahweh shall return. These things, these travail and birth pains of anguish, of wickedness, they're gonna increase. But that's a good thing, because that shows you how close we are to our deliverance. All right, we almost here. Okay. And it reads again, set thy heart aright and constantly endure. Keep your mind right on this word, on this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and make not haste in time of trouble. Okay. Because the scripture says, let's get it real quick. Although this is dealing with at this time right now. All right. This wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right. Isaiah 33:6, and it reads, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure. Okay. And this is what the men of the Lord will be doing at these times, the prophets. We're going to be continuing in this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, although we're suffering. Okay. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. All right. And it reads, verse 2 again, set thy heart aright and constantly endure. All right. And make not haste in the time of trouble. All right. So when, danger pop off, and when there's wickedness and darkness around, we'll have that spiritual discernment. Okay. Making wise decisions. All right. Verse 3, and it reads, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Okay. And that him is Yahweh Shai. Okay. And he has paved the way. All right. Yahweh Shai said, I am the way and the life. Okay. The truth. And what is this truth? Is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, learning, being brotherly to your brethren. All right. Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. Having faith in Yahweh Shai through his death, burial, and resurrection. Okay. And it reads, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Right. Because, we all, walking a narrow path, but we have different walks. Like some brothers, came in better, had better upbringing, where they grew up in a family household, some single family households, whether it was your mom or your dad, live with your grandmother, those type of things. Didn't even have your parents growing up, but you here. Okay. And that's what matters. All right. Some people in different financial states than others, but you're here. Okay. So these are the tribulations and burdens that, the men of the Lord will be taking upon. All right. But that's okay. We want to enter that chamber, which you read about in Acts, the first chapter, around verse 9. We'll get to that too. And that's what we're trying to keeping our eyes on that prize. All right. And it reads again, verse 4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. Right. Because when you changed, especially from going from where you are to a lower estate, is very humbling. Um, it's damn near almost confusing. All right, but Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai knows exactly what he's doing. Okay, he knows exactly what's needed for us to enter into thy kingdom. All right, and this is what we're going to keep our eyes on, because when we're changed into that lower state, as you can read in Second Esdras, the 15th and 16th chapter, um, when Jacob's trouble hit, which we pretty much in there. It's just when these things ramp up and people start getting kicked off their jobs, kicked out of their homes, having to be pilgrims in those days. These are some of the lower states that, the men of the Lord will be in. But as we read in Isaiah 33 and 6, wisdom and knowledge is going to be the stability of those times, although it's in this time as we speak now. Okay. Let's grab First Peter. Let's get it. First Peter 1, start from verse 6. This is First Peter 1 and 6, and it reads, wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations. Right. And although, we're going through, day to day, we still ought to rejoice, because we know what the end game is. Okay. We're ready for those new bodies, for that new Jerusalem to come down from heaven, which is out of those chariots. Okay. And, the different temptations that's headed our way, that we, experiencing on a day-to-day basis, this is what Yahweh Shai died for. And this is that grace time. Okay. We just got to keep going, keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability, according to Judges 5 and 11. All right. Verse 7, that the trial of your faith, and that's the key, because the scripture says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of those things not seen. All right. Being much more precious than of gold that perisheth. Why? Because, this devil's about to come down on Israel with great wrath. All right. Like a flood. Okay. That's Revelation 12 and 12. I was paraphrasing it, but you can get it. All right. And in that day, the men of the Lord are going to be like gold. Okay. Because Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is going to lift up a standard. All right. Through those tribulations, through those sufferings, through Jacob's trouble, through the hour of temptation that every man is going to have to face. Okay. All the way, up to World War III, until he deliver, his people, the chosen and the elect. All right. In rest of the verse, and it reads, though it be tried with fire, and that fire is what's going to cleanse you, man. Okay. And that's that going through, walking that straight gate, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. All right. So that's what's going to keep us, on that straight path, singing that new song, having the correct names, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. All right. Verse 8, and it reads, whom having not seen, ye love, in whom, though now you see him not. All right. And read that again. Whom having not seen, ye love, in whom, though now ye see him not, yet believing, ye rejoice with joy unspeakable and full of glory. Right. Because although that's where your faith come in, we know through the Spirit, our spirit was quickened. Okay. And we know that who we serve, all right, we know our power, okay, through the Spirit, all right. And this is what keep us, waking up day in and day out. Verse 9, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls, okay. And it's exactly what, the men of the Lord will be going through during these times. Although we out there on the highways and byways, giving all these things up, this world up for Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, things that we can be out doing, although we knowing that all of those things are going to get destroyed in Babylon the Great, okay, through nuclear ICBM destruction, okay. Let me get Wisdom of Solomon 5. All right. This is Wisdom of Solomon. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5 and verse 1, and it reads, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. Verse 2, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. Right. Because when the salvation of the chosen elect take place, this world, they done heard about it on the highways and byways from the men of the Lord, the prophets. They done heard us on the videos. They done mocked us, scoffed us. And now, Lord willing, we those men and women, they're going to be in a maze because they're going to see like, oh, man. And then at the same time, they're going to know it's their destruction. All right. And let me grab Acts chapter 1 and verse 9. Let's get that. And this is Yahweh Shai when he went into the chariot. In verse 9, and it reads, and when he had spoken these things, this is Yahweh Shai, while they beheld, he was taken up. Okay, this is Yahweh Shai in a cloud, which is the chariot, received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven, as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel. These are angels. Okay, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahweh Shai, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as you have seen him go into heaven. So when Yahweh Shai return, he's going to be coming back on the chariots, all right? And ready to avenge his people, the nation of Israel. So this suffering and these trials and tribulations that we're going through on a day-to-day basis, brothers, continue to, stay encouraged. All right. We almost out of here, man. I mean, things are ramping up. At the same time, a lot of wickedness is just, taking place. Our people are continuing to go off, I mean, it's just, hey, we're just going to have to, again, like Apostle Rakai say, keep our medicine strong, all right? And our mind stayed on this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, all right? So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. And with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Raha, Quadash, double honors, to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have taught us this truth and ruled well. Peace and salutations to the chosen and the elect. Shalom.